And hi, everybody. Welcome to this week's podcast. This is Podcast Time Machine.
And today we're going to talk about Mortal Kombat.
As always, I'm Mike.
And this is Rob.
And, on our other last week's episode, we did Karate Kid. So, sticking with the whole fighting genre, we figured, hey, why don't we do our favorite video game from back in the 80s?
That's right. This was definitely by far one of our favorites besides, well, mine was Street Fighter, but between me and Mike.
Well, us together more.
Yes, that's right. That's right. We spent a lot of quarters on this game for sure.
Quarter? That doesn't even cover it. Lots of dollars.
Yeah.
But it was only 50 cents, wasn't it back then, or was it a quarter? I think it was still a quarter.
It was still a quarter. I think when 1 and 2 came out, it was a quarter. I think 3 was 50 cents. I could have swore 3 was 50 cents. But when us two were playing it a lot, it was a quarter.
Yeah, I just remember back in the day, you had to put your quarters up on the thing.
Oh yeah,
or somebody would have jumped right in. But and who could have believed that came out in '92?
Yeah, well, the first one did, right?
Yeah.
Yep. But the next one came out not too far after. Mortal Kombat 2 came out in '93, so it was enough on the first year to spawn a second one very quickly because they knew the potential of it.
Right. Well, it blew up. It was like nothing that was around back then.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
It was very unique. And
yeah, you could say that.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, not so much these days, but back then it was.
Yeah, I mean, considering what else did you have, right? Well, you had Street Fighter, which is by far the father almost of all these fighting games, at least for the combo aspect of it.
Are you sure you wasn't Kung Fu?
No, because that didn't
Karate Champ? I mean, Karate Champ, though, dude.
That was a fighting game, but it's not. I don't think it was a precursor. Well, it was a precursor in terms of fighting, as a one-on-one.
That's what I mean.
I don't think it was. I feel Street Fighter was more of that than Karate Champ, just because it had combos, right? So it had special moves. Combos weren't really introduced until Street Fighter 2, which, by the way, was an accident. If anyone, that's a FYI for everybody. There's actually a glitch in the software that wasn't supposed to be there, but when this glitch happened, you could do a combo, like you could interrupt one move into another. Those interrupts. So that was the birth of combos. Everyone loved it. Everyone took advantage of it. So including Mortal Kombat, but that they didn't really take advantage of it until probably the second or third one. So. But what other games were on at the same time? Killer Instinct. So it was
Killer Instinct, but that was in a genre of its own.
Right.
That was a lot. That was like they actually did like models, didn't they? Wasn't it like models they moved?
Yeah. Yep. It was models because that skeleton guy. I forgot what his name was, but yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember what that skeleton guy's name was. I just remember the werewolf because everybody was cheap with him.
Yeah, that's definitely the best character at that time for Killer Instinct 1 because I think it had an infinite combo.
Yes.
Combo breaker.
Combo breaker. Combo breaker. That's right. But as far as Mortal Kombat, what's crazy is the people who made that for the longest time were making pinball machines. It was
Is that
Midway.
right?
Yeah, Midway first started with pinball machines.
That's right. Yeah, you mean the actual company?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes,
yeah.
I mean it was a subsidiary of Midway, but it was still Midway. Midway still owned them at first, before Warner Brothers bought them, and then they opened up the NetherRealm studio, which is still under Warner Brothers technically.
Yeah, I mean that's surprising because it's like you think Midway, especially at that time, you think pinballs, right? Pinball machines.
Which I loved. I used to go all the time play pinball.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I wasn't too much into pinballs, playing pinball because it's at that time I was in the arcade. It was Street Fighter. I was big into Street Fighter, so I usually just played that. or any fighting game that was there.
Right. And as far as the creators, everybody knows them because they pop up all through the games everywhere.
Yeah,
which was John Tobias and Ed Boon.
That's right, Ed Boon, right. Tobias wasn't as popular as Ed Boon because Ed Boon seemed to be always popping up. His name used to be popping up everywhere, even back then. I'm not even sure if Tobias is in the picture, but like I know Ed Boon is. So as in terms of Mortal Kombat, current Mortal Kombat games or a subsequent series. So,
but wasn't it? It was Tobias that popped up and would go Toasty, right? Was that him? It wasn't Ed Boon.
I don't remember.
I swear it was John Tobias.
To fight Smoke back in Mortal Kombat 2, you needed to be on the portal stage, and Dan Forden also needed to pop in and say Toasty.
But again, they popped up everywhere as in the character. I mean, I will get into characters maybe later, but Noob Saibot was a combination of both their names backwards.
Right, that's correct. Yep.
So they really were throughout the whole thing. You really knew those names. If you were into Mortal Kombat, you knew.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, and back then it was that was saying something. That was saying something because we didn't have internet to look up things. You have to really buy magazines or word of mouth, right? Even word of mouth was kind of like iffy because you didn't know if it was true or not. So you didn't have that mass social intelligence, right? You can just say like look it up and say someone saying, oh, this happened, and you don't have a million people saying, nope, you're wrong, dude. So
right.
You really have to try it out. Like some things, like I think Smoke was a rumor from the first Mortal Kombat, I think, or maybe Noob Saibot was too, which doesn't exist in Mortal Kombat 1.
Right.
So, but everyone tried. Like there was all these different things that you could do, or people you heard that you could do. But you spent quarters on it, but you didn't know it was false or true or not. So,
right. It didn't stop you from trying to find it.
Yeah, though. Yeah.
Just like for all those Minecraft people out there, Hero Brian. I don't know if you know anything about that, but it's a character that's legend in the game and stuff, and it's people still are trying to look for him and everything, but it makes people play the game.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think a more relevant character would be Akuma, right? Like
I guess
Street Fighter, the original Street Fighter 2 was there was rumors of Akuma, you could do this and that. I'm talking original, not like the subsequent like Turbo or Championship editions, but the original. You do this or perfect this or whatever, and Kuma comes out whatever. So eventually it was the case, but it wasn't originally.
Right, Akuma Matata. And for a game to do that well, where you had to go to an arcade to play it, like you didn't have it on a home console. Like It's easy now. You put out a game, you're going to have millions of people playing it, even if your game doesn't do that well. You're gonna have millions of people playing.
Yeah, back then it was it was mostly arcade, and that's where people, a lot of companies made their money was arcade because people pumped, all this money into it and stuff like that. That was pre-internet as well, so there's less sharing, less information sharing, as well as software sharing. So it was definitely cabinets were the key back then. So I kind of miss the arcades back then. So like you said, like. You want to play fighting game or anybody, or you just want to play next, you just put your quarter up. So on the little rims of the things. And it was funny. It's funny. It's because like, if you got the wrong quarter, it's like, that's my quarter. That's it's the same stupid quarter.
Well, did it have your name on it, bro?
Yeah, exactly.
Should we get the fingerprint kit out?
Yeah.
To make sure it was yours?
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say people get nasty sometimes.
Yeah, glad you said that because I was going to go into like why I miss the arcade. Like it's because the arcade playing at home now, that's fine and dandy, and playing you have the advantage of playing on anyone online in the world. But I miss the one-on-one, like the physical closest you are to the guy next to you, right? Like if he's doing something cheap or you're doing something cheap to them, then they look at you funny. You're like, oh, you almost get into fights and stuff like that. Did you, Mike? You want to tell the listeners that story about you in Mortal Kombat with that one guy?
You know what's so funny? I want you to say it because I don't remember the story that well.
Okay, you might not. So
I know of it. I remember something happening. I don't remember the details though.
So you this was a long time ago. Mike was young, and we were both young, obviously, at that time.
We were right out of high school or graduating.
Yeah,
it was 92.
Right out.
So.
Yep, it was right out of high school. No, this was Mortal Kombat 2, so it has to be in 93. So like a year after graduating. So in Mortal Kombat 2 was getting popular, and the same thing. We put our quarters up, but if you're good, right? You stay there and play the game for the next challenger. So
you played until you lost, right? Yeah, you played until you lost.
The only person who changed was the loser, right? You get new challenger basically. So, and again, we were young. Okay, Mike is no longer. Whatever I say, Mike is no longer this way. At least I don't think so.
No, I not at all. I think I said something very derogatory.
Yes,
about somebody, but I was. We don't exactly have to say exactly what it was.
No, but I'm not gonna say exactly.
But I was very mad at this guy.
Yeah. So, Mike was playing this guy at one of the arcades, Mortal Kombat 2.
Yeah, it was at a mall. It was either Willowbrook or.
It was Willowbrook. It was. I remember distinctly. It was Willowbrook. And Willowbrook Mall in New Jersey, by the way, if anyone.
Way New Jersey, baby.
That's right. Like if anyone watches Impractical Jokers. They frequent that place a lot. So, but anyway, yeah, Mike was playing this guy, and like Mike and I were good, right? But going up this guy, like basically Mike lost. He puts in the next quarter. Okay, fine. But the next quarter, no one was in line, so he just puts in again. He lost again, and again, and again. He was getting angry. And if anyone has heard one of our first podcasts where Mike and I were playing Magic the Gathering, he is not a good loser. Mike and I are really good friends, and he wouldn't talk to me for the rest of the night after I beat him so badly at Magic. But anyway, this guy was like being him, and Mike was getting so
he was
mad.
Being cheap, dude. He was cheap as heck.
It's coming out.
No, dude.
That's why I want you to tell the story.
He was being super cheap. Okay, he obviously, I lost. Okay, I lost. He was better than me, but from what I remember, he was using the cheapest combos ever. But go ahead. I digress. Go ahead.
No, I want to hear you. But I just want to interject. Anything goes, even throws. That's right. So, like, while you may think it's cheap, it's technically you could do the same thing to him.
Right. Obviously, he knew what he was doing. I'm not denying that.
Oh, we knew what we were doing too, but like, as in terms of that technique, yeah, he was doing something different than we were used to.
Right. Plus, in video games, you can find the cheaper combos a lot of times with certain characters had cheaper combos than other characters and stuff like that. So I felt like he kept doing the same combo on me, and I kept losing, and I just couldn't break in and hit the guy. From what I remember, I couldn't get in there. I think I might have beat him once here and there for a round, but for the most part, he was handing me my ass.
But for a round, yeah, you might have won a round, but not the whole match. I don't think you won a match against that guy.
No. I didn't win any. No, I won a round here and there, but I did not win a match. He never had to put another quarter in. Let's put it that way.
Yep.
And go ahead. You can finish the story.
You go.
Again, I don't remember exactly, but I got very frustrated finally after 5, 6, 7, 8. I don't know how many times that I played. And I just walked away and I said something. I don't know if he heard me or not, but I said something derogatory about the guy and I walked away. I was very angry. And I was angry for quite a while after that night.
Yeah. You said after that last quarter, you just turned around and you're like, Yeah, you said something under your breath, but it was like loud, like under your breath.
Do you know if he heard me?
Yeah, he heard you because he looked at you and he started towards you, like as if he wanted to start a fight. I'm like, oh man. And this guy, like, while Mike and I were big, I guess, not huge, but like this guy was way taller than us, right? He was
tall and thin from what I remember.
No, he was not
more
thin.
Short and stockier.
He was not thin. That's why I kind of thought that we were going to, even though like if he had another friend, we'd probably get our ass kicked. So
I don't know. I was pretty angry, dude. I don't know. Anything could have happened.
True. But he had in my opinion, I think he had both the reach and a weight, probably the same weight as us, or as you, I should say.
Right.
So
and OMV was there too, right?
Nope, it was us two. Oh, well, at that part, he might have been on another part of the arcade playing air hockey or something.
Because he remembers the story.
Does he? I don't know. It was just us two. I'm walking away from that.
I was so mad. I just turned and walked. I didn't see the guy come at me.
Yeah, he started. He kind of like turned and left his machine, like even though he's the winner, right? And like he started like towards, and then I guess he saw that, because I was still looking at him like towards that direction, but maybe he just saw that it was two of us against just one him, and it was not worth it. So
either that or he didn't want to lose his quarter. One or the other.
I don't know. We were in New Jersey, and it was a very popular mall, and a lot of fights do break out there, especially in that right outside that the arcade area, at least at that time. So, I mean, I wouldn't doubt it, but I don't think it was. I think it was just the risk reward for him was not good. So,
yeah. I just remember I was so angry. I had tunnel vision. I didn't know what was going on around me. I was just.
Yep. I know. You just wanted to leave. So.
Oh man, that good story.
Yeah.
Good story. Good times, man. Good times.
I miss the arcades. That's why.
I definitely do. It was like the gladiator arenas of the 80s.
Yeah, especially for fighting games. So like Mortal Kombat 1, Mortal Kombat 2, and Mortal Kombat 3. Those are, remember, being really popular in the arcades. As in terms of Mortal Kombat, like I think after that it kind of dwindled.
By 4 it was dying. You're absolutely right. By 4 it started to drop off, where you had those big crowds around the games and lines to play and quarters up. Yeah. And then it just slowly died from there. 5, you didn't really see that. And then, it went all the way up to 10. We're at 10 now. But now,
a lot of
what was the first one? What was the first one, Rob, that was on console? Was it after 2?
Well, on console, I mean, they released stuff on console. Like Mortal Kombat 1 released on console as well.
But it wasn't until after 2. Right? That they
yes, that's correct. After 2, then they said, oh, we should release these for Genesis and Nintendo, I think. So I remember 1 being on Nintendo because it was awkward, it was quirky because you only had 2 buttons for the thing, and they had to remove a lot of the. I believe it was first Nintendo. They had to remove a lot of the characters and a lot of the graphics sucked, that's for sure. But anyway, I mean, and the graphics, like that's what made it hit, right? So were the graphics.
Well, it was the graphics one, but it really was the finishing moves. I mean, let's face it, a lot of times I was playing because I wanted to do a finishing, but you didn't just want to beat somebody. You wanted to do the finishing move too, to put icing on the cake.
Right.
That's what it was all about. And if you screwed up the finishing move at the end, you're like, ah!
Oh, not only that, you're like, instead of doing this big, super awesome thing, then you're like, poke, and he's like, eh.
Yeah, he's like this, like going around. And
he's all dizzy, and then
falls down.
It's just like, right.
Put your arm up and that's it.
Yeah, because half the time it's like you press that last button and it's like it looks like you're punching them, but it looks like you're like, I got your nose.
I got it.
Who I got? Whose nose do I got?
Exactly. It's like it starts off like, finish him.
Yeah.
And it's like, boop.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is like, and you know what? And I think the first Mortal Kombat, there was just one fatality for everybody.
Yes.
And then for 2, they introduced the multiple ones that you could do, depending how far you were from them, and so forth, so on.
Right. You had a certain distance would do another one.
Yeah.
A certain button combination sometimes was what the difference was.
Yeah.
And then from there, it started to get nutsy. And then when the Babalities came out, I thought that was a little ridiculous.
Yeah, I did too. The friendships and Babalities. Yeah, that's I'll give them credit for trying to be original, and I think that's why the Mortal Kombat series are great, because they're very original, especially for that time. Because not only graphics, you got the fatalities, and then there was like some gameplay aspects of it, because like at that time, Street Fighter was a precursor to that, right? And everyone had to learn complicated moves like quarter circle forward, or especially Dragon Punch was forward down, forward down, down forward, right? Not everyone was used to that motion,
right?
But when Mortal Kombat came out, it was kind of like to do what Raiden's electric thing or tackle thing was just back forward, right? Really quickly. So like, or down back punch for the electric thing. Excuse me. So that was interesting. But what I want to do is comment on the fatality thing. That's what I wanted to do. That was great and all, and like if you could pull it off, like, and especially if no one has seen it before, that's awesome, right? Like,
right.
Everyone's like, ooh, ah.
Yeah, that's what really brought the people around, was like when you would pull off those fatalities and stuff. You thought you were the man. Like you actually jumped in the game and did something. Like all I did was hit buttons.
Yep. And you're like, yeah, you definitely felt proud of yourself. You're like, yeah, that's right, dude.
What was one of your favorite fatalities?
Oh man, to watch, or I guess
to pull off. I mean, we each had a favorite character. I mean, and again, there wasn't a lot of people in the first game, and I liked Scorpion. I did like Scorpion.
Yeah, I remember you like Scorpion. I did what, Raiden, Sub-Zero.
Did you like Liu Kang too?
No, not really. I mean, I gonna use them just to try to pull something off that I learned, but I don't think
it was Raiden.
Yeah,
that's who you used a lot.
Well,
because you used to go. At me all the time, dude.
Was Raiden or Sub-Zero? Sub-Zero was my second, so my secondary. But yeah, it was mostly Raiden.
Yeah.
How'd they go again?
I used to hate that, dude. All the time you'd do that. And you'd have to sit there and wait because you had to fly. Like if we were all the way on the right side of the screen and you were fighting me from that side, you would push me all the way to the other side. And it's like, yes. And then you would flip back and land on your feet.
That's right. And it was easy to pull. It's kind of, that was kind of cheap because like Raiden also had to teleport. So if you're in the middle of a move, I just teleport in and do the little tackle move.
Yeah, dude. I hated it because it was so loud too. He'd go and he'd just fly at you.
Was Mortal Kombat 1? Was his fatality where he just electrocuted your head and then blew up? I forgot.
Yeah, he electrocuted you. Yeah, that was it.
That the first one?
Yeah, they were pretty simple.
Yeah.
They were pretty simple. Was there a stage fatality in the first one?
Yes, there was. Oh, was that the first one?
With the acid, right?
I thought it was the spikes.
Yes, it was the spikes, but it wasn't the acid too?
I don't remember. Well, what happened? Do you remember? What happened with the acid?
You would you get uppercutted and fall in the acid, and then you'd see your skull like you melted, and the skull would like bob up.
Huh? I don't know. We would have to look that up. I actually forgot.
Don't
look it up now.
No, it was just bothering me. Maybe it wasn't in the first one. Maybe it was the second one that they brought in the stage.
I think the second one. Yeah. Yeah, because like I think even the spikes was on the second one. I think.
Yeah, I think the first one was purely just one fatality and.
Yeah.
and their signature move.
That was good enough as it was.
For the time, yeah, absolutely. Now you come all the way up to 10, which I played, which they revamped the whole story, because you have to, after 9 of them, you got to change something up if you want to keep people, you know, coming back for the day. How much more can you tell about the same thing happening, you know? So, I mean, there was 2 fatalities plus a brutality plus stage fatalities. I mean, I couldn't even remember everything when I played it to pull it off. It just got to a point where I was playing it just to see the ending. So there were so many fatalities you could pull off per character. And then there was, I don't know how many characters in 10, all the DLC packs and the add-on characters. I mean, it was insane.
Yeah. I mean, so I have 10 too, and I played it, but in my opinion, I think it's becoming very clinical for Mortal Kombat. Like, I was about to mention this earlier as well. So even in the arcade, when we played Mortal Kombat arcade, the novelty was great when you didn't know, and maybe if you saw it or tried it and you'd done it on someone else about, you know, like a few dozen times, right? But after that, it's kind of like, okay, he's doing a fatality. It doesn't mean anything at that point. The reason why I say this is because like now it's kind of like, okay, they still have fatalities, and that's interesting to see and stuff like that. You know, brutality has kind of a cool thing to it too, but it's like, I don't know. It's like, I think it lost its luster, lost its novelty a while back ago. And it doesn't really mean anything. Like, it's not that difficult to pull off. I could see if it's like, it's a very specific situation, right? And you pull it off. Similar to like in Dragon Ball Fighter Z, where you get someone summons Shenron, right, with all the Dragon Balls. That's doesn't happen often. It's rare. And then when it happens, everyone knows it's there. But when it happens, everyone's still in awe of it. Like, it's kind of cool.
Right.
So now it's kind of like, I feel Mortal Kombat, like the series for Mortal Kombat, it's just like, it's so easy to pull off this stuff. Like, and it's easy to find the information how to pull that stuff, and everyone can do it, and at any time, it just loses novelty.
Right. I agree. Oh, by the way, Dan Forden is the guy that says Toasty.
Okay, yeah, you looked that up.
I did, because that was like, certain things bother me. I'm like, that bothers me that I don't remember who that was. But now they had a lot of Easter eggs and hidden stuff.
For one,
it was Reptile. Remember?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Reptile he wasn't playable, but he would be in it, like he was somewhere in it.
Yeah.
But then, of course, they got out of hand with that too. Then it became, you know, out of hand. But I have to ask, what did you think of the movies that spawned from Mortal Kombat?
So the first one was good. I think anything after that was kind of like, okay, all right. It's similar to like the fatalities. It's like, okay, the first Mortal Kombat movie came out. It was great. It was different, I guess, in a way. And it was, you know, novelty still there. You know, second one came out. I think I was like already like, eh. It was like, all right. And then I think there was another one coming after that. I was like, I was not even interested. So
I liked 1.
Yeah.
2 wasn't bad, but I thought like, what was his name? The guy that was like part horse, Montero. Was that his name?
Yeah, Montero. Yeah.
He looked dumb.
Yeah.
In the second one, it was ridiculous. They I don't know how their budget was. I thought their budget was pretty good for it, but some of it was like, I know you're trying to stick to the source material, but I don't know. It didn't carry well over. The first one I got into, like, I remember seeing that in the movies.
Yeah, so did I. Yeah, I saw that in the movie. I saw both of them in the movies, but yeah.
The one that stands out for me is the first one, though.
Yeah, I did too. Yeah, like I said, like I really like the first one. The second, similar to you, it's like the second was meh to me. It's like, all right, that's cool, I guess. And then the third one was like, I think was just, I think I didn't even see it in the movies. I think I saw it like after it released on DVD or whatever it was. So
right. And you know what else is interesting too? I mean, these days with video games and stuff, everything is motion capture now. Like everything with video games, and you get to know who's voicing it and who's doing the acting for it. And a lot of times the actor will do the motion capture too. But it's almost like Mortal Kombat was really the first one to put like the people that did it on the map. You actually, if you were into Mortal Kombat, you knew who the people that were playing the characters, what their names were.
I don't think you knew it back then.
I did. I did know them. Like I was like, and then because it would be weird because I was like,
who's rated?
Huh?
Who's rated without looking it up? Yeah, you're looking at the screen.
I know I'm already on it. I noticed it. I'm like, you know what? Like, because I remember back then, what I do remember thinking was sometimes one of the guys that was playing somebody where you saw their face was actually playing one of the masked people too.
Sure. Right.
So I remember that I looked that up back then. Like I'm going to remember now 43, every actor that played in Mortal Kombat.
Well, name one without looking it up.
I don't remember now. I'm talking about at the time.
I don't know. It's different. You had magazines. You didn't have the internet. So.
Right. But I'm saying you still found that stuff out through like Game Informer or whatever was back then. I don't even remember. But you would find that stuff out. But I'm just saying nowadays, you know that stuff. Like, you know who played like, because a lot of times big actors are doing it now in video games too now. Yeah,
well, you could. I guess if you're really, really into it. But like for me, like even a big name is in a. If tomorrow someone says, you know, this big name is in a video game, it wouldn't make me buy that video game. Not more than
no.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that. I wouldn't buy based off of who's in it.
But like I guess what I'm trying to say is that I don't care who the actor or actress or whoever is in there. Like I just care if it comes out looking nice and the gameplay is great. But I really don't. I mean, like, yeah, great if I'm playing this character and all of a sudden I find out it's a really famous person. Like I really don't care. Like, well, I wouldn't care. I'm like, oh, that's interesting, but it doesn't. The care factor is not there for me. So
right, and I don't care either. I'm just saying that was one of the first games for being in the early '80s that now is kind of a regular thing. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of motion capture stuff now. That was one of the first ones to really do it on a large scale, where it actually captured their images. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I mean, like that's how the well, I could tell you the motion capture did not go well when Street Fighter the movie tried to imitate the same thing.
Oh well, that was a nightmare.
Let's not even get into that. Please. Yeah. But like, yeah, well, that's true. I don't.
Oh, you didn't like Raul Julia? Rest in peace. As what's his name? Bison.
Yeah.
You know, Bison was a thin Hispanic guy.
Yeah. Although he did his best with that character, though.
Is that your best?
Oh man, I think it did better than Jean-Claude as Guile. So
the casting was absolutely awful.
Yep.
And when Blanca showed up, it was like, yeah, I'd rather him not even be in it. it was just bad. It really was. I mean, Mortal Kombat, if you're going to go with movie adaptations, Mortal Kombat did it better. The first one.
Oh, yeah, right.
Did it better than the Street Fighter movie.
Oh, my God. Well, obviously, you're talking about live action movie, not like because the Street Fighter anime, that was before any of those, and that rocked.
Oh, dude, it was amazing. Yeah. I remember going to buy the VHS in New York.
Yeah. I mean, everyone was, making copies of it. Like, I remember just watching it over my buddy's house in college. So
that was when you could go downtown on 42nd Street and pick up drugs if you needed it. You can get
you're talking about New York, getting in New York.
Right? Yeah, or you can get drugs if you needed it, a hooker if you needed it, a knife, sexual things, and a Japanese bootleg, all on the same street.
Yeah.
Before Disney bought everything up and changed it, made it more family friendly. What an experience that was, walking down that street back in like the late 80s, early 90s.
I mean, it's still pretty good to go there. Like especially if you're trying to find a Japanese import for a console. Like it was Japan only or Asia only, and that didn't release in the States. And it's still good to go there for that type of thing.
Yeah, it's legitimate though. I'm talking. This was not legitimate. These places.
Oh yeah.
You know, when the covers of the VHS tapes looks like they printed it, but they were decent quality. I mean, it was kind of a crapshoot, but in fact, what was it? $9? Not even. It had everything.
Oh, well, depending how it was, so how popular it was, or how much they had stock on it, or who you actually went through. So
right, like Vampire Hunter D.
That was a good one. Yeah, that was a good one too. Yeah,
but so me and Rob spent many a Saturday night at the local arcade putting money in this. I don't even know how we had that much money.
Well, it depended. So it was either I had money and I paid for you, or you had money and paid for me, or because sometimes we didn't have we needed our money to pay other things, but we always got each other's back in terms of getting quarters and stuff like that. So both of us I think worked. It's just life stuff you have to pay for sometimes.
Right. And I was usually the chauffeur most of the time.
Yeah, you were. Yeah.
Remember when we like chip in a dollar or two each, and I'd get like almost a full tank of gas back then?
Oh yeah, I know. And everything like gas was $1 per gallon.
I remember when it was less than $1. It was like 98 cents.
Yeah. Everyone was like, "Oh my god, $1."
That's when you can go around cruising. That's when we would just go and waste gas. Yeah. Like we would just drive around, kicker blaring, neons on.
But I don't think because it was appropriate for the time, right? Like $1 for gas per gallon is cheap compared to now, but back then it was still it was appropriate for the time. It's not like you could just waste gas all the time, but
we did.
We
wasted gas all the time.
We all chipped in. I think your point was we all chipped in and we had a good time. So
right, and I'm just my point was it wasn't a lot. Like, because you got $2 for gas. Yeah, here.
Yeah, right. Oh, for each person, right.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, we always help out each other. This will be another podcast or another show, but like
maybe we'll do a live about
for comic books too. That I remember us paying for each other's comic books when we needed it. So
yeah, Joker's Child in Fairlawn, New Jersey.
That's right. Which, by the way, I remember trying to sell my comic books back then, like because I needed money. I forgot why. And I brought in like a box full of stuff just to see, and they kind of laughed at me because it wasn't anything rare, or anything special. Like I thought it was. Like I had signed stuff. I had Spawn 1 signed by McFarlane, but at the time everyone was collecting comic books, and a lot of people had this stuff. So when you tried to sell it, it's kind of like they just laugh at you. Like, all right, we'll give you what, $10 for this whole box full of shit. So
right, exactly. And you don't know. I mean, you have ideas what you think something should cost, but
exactly,
you're like, these are professionals, so they should know.
Yeah. Nowadays we have more. We kind of know ahead of time before selling it, right? What it's worth. But back then we're kind of like, I kind of thought it was expensive, but what can you say? You're not the expert, so the best you could do
cost what somebody wants to pay. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah. And the best you could do is just go around to different comic book stores. So
right. You can always get a second opinion.
Yeah.
And there was also a cartoon on TV.
Mortal Kombat? Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I didn't watch it. I don't remember watching it.
I think I saw a couple episodes, but it was very 90-ish. Like it wasn't very good even for that time. And I think even at that time it was like like when it came out, I think cartoon like Saturday morning cartoons or just cartoons in general was already being not as popular. So
right, I miss Saturday morning cartoons. That I do miss.
Yeah, we'll do that another show on that for sure. But yeah, I miss those.
And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. And now they're supposed to be announcing. I mean, I've been keeping up on E3 and stuff. So far, nothing. There's still 2 more days of it, but supposedly Mortal Kombat 11 is supposed to be coming out. Maybe in 2019 or maybe the end of 2018. I don't know. We'll see. But
yeah, we'll see. I'll probably get it. Play it. I mean, I was more of a competitive Street Fighter player before, not so much Mortal Kombat, but I'll probably get it and just screw around with it. You know, nowadays I have really no preconceived notions of being on the top tier of anything. I just play for fun, probably get my butt kicked a lot. So
yeah, exactly. I do it all. I do it all for fun now. I mean, like I'll play when I play Destiny and I play other people. I mean, every now and then I'll be like, when you're getting like you're trying to get that shot in and somebody clips you and you didn't even see him, you're like, what the like? Where the hell did that just come from?
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But I don't really get. I get mad at the actual computer, like the actual system, like the computer itself killing me cheap than I do like against other people. You know what I mean? Like when I'm playing through the actual like single player or whatever, that I get more pissed at like at a boss or something than I do when I'm playing player versus player.
I think I'm okay. I think I only get irritated at like the computer if they make it where it's impossible. Usually fighting games, it's not that way because the AI is not that good. And any technique that they do or it's usually fall into patterns that you just have to pick up. But like I'll rage on something if like they make it like it's over the top impossible and they made it sound like you're at a severe disadvantage. Like I don't know if any fighting games come to mind, but like you know, some boss fights in some platformer or whatever. It's just you just put a severe disadvantage, you die a lot, which is great and all, but it's like, sometimes you can't help but rage a little bit.
Right. I've been known to throw a controller or two still.
Houston, stop! Houston, quit!
Yeah, as I think the listeners already know about your rage from the story we just told about the guy for Mortal Kombat in the arcade.
Right. And again, I don't think I'd get that mad at a person, but
no.
Definitely, I get mad at my PS4, my Xbox. Yes, without a doubt.
I did get mad. So I got a little bit of story. So I was, when Street Fighter Alpha came out, I was very good. I actually won a tournament at the arcade right by William Patterson, and playing Charlie. I was very good at it. So, but after Street Fighter Alpha, I kind of didn't go into arcades anymore. I kind of did other stuff. But when I came back after a few years of not playing, I played this guy on, I think it was Alpha 2. And I was Charlie and he was somebody. He was doing like something. He was like similar to you. Like I just kept getting my butt kicked, getting quarters in, and he was doing something where it's like he was just outside the reach of my stuff, and the same techniques I remember doing before did not work here. And I just felt embarrassed. Like I didn't feel mad. I just like, dude, I just spent I didn't want to spend that much money, but you just plug it in because you're like, you feel that you're going to learn from this.
Right. It's gambling basically.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at least you have a chance, to learn quickly if you can. Right.
It's that feeling though. Like, well, this time the outcome's going to be different.
Yeah. That's true. But yeah, but even then, it's like, all right. And then I kind of got back into Street Fighter a little bit. And then I took a break again, and then I came back in with Street Fighter 4. That's and that was on it was on console, but it was also on PC, which I played it on. And I was like, all right, this is the first time it was on online globally. So I was like, oh, let's see how I do. Like, I was so bad. I'm not sure it's because it's been a while or it's because now the competition scale is now global, right?
Yeah.
It's not just your local people playing. It's like everyone, the best of the best of the best. So.
Right.
So, but yeah, that's after Street Fighter 4, playing online competitively. I'm like, that's when I was just like, okay, it's like I don't have time to sit here practicing all day. I got an actual job and I have other things to do. So even though I'd love to, I can't.
Right. Did you say anything nasty to the guy?
What? Which in the arcade for the Alpha 2? No, I kind of just left it. I just kind of like, what can I do? It's like. I'm not really mad at him because it's like, again, it's something that I should have just learned how to either change characters or do something, right? But that was me just being stubborn with myself. So I was mad at myself for not adjusting and just playing off the fly and just kind of like adjusting to my strategy to his strategy or something. So I was more embarrassed than anything else.
Right. No, I hear you. Before we wrap this up, one last thing on this I think we should cover was the controversy surrounding the game.
Yeah, well, you mean like the
violence of it. Yeah. It caused quite an uproar back then. Do you remember it?
Yeah, I remember the uproar for sure. Actually, I remember two phases of this, right? It was the uproar in the arcade and the decisions on porting it to consoles. So yeah, obviously in the arcade, like it's graphic, right? People are ripping their heads off, and then people going to arcades. It's not like you need an ID. You have to be 18 to enter, or even 17. You could be any age to enter. Yeah, and you have kids playing, right? You have kids as young as 9, 10, or whatever.
Right, they could just go up and throw their quarter in.
Yeah, and they could be just as good as anybody else, right? And not only that, they could do it, but they could just, even if they weren't playing it, they just view it, right? They're just spectators. I like to spectate sometimes, right? That's the whole thing of Twitch.
Right.
So
yeah, exactly.
So yeah, for sure, it's like
that's what OMV did all the time when we play. It wasn't his thing.
Well, no, well, until he figured out he's good at air hockey and started playing everybody else. So
right. Then he'd go back in the corner over there and
he was the champion of
the champion.
Oh, you mean Kermit? You mean Kermit?
OFK.
Okay, yeah. I think we could call him Kermit because I don't think we have any other friends called Kermit.
Yeah, true. Kermit. Yeah. And and this game was really the game that paved the way for the ESRB.
Yeah,
which was the ratings one. So this really brought it in. There was nothing before.
Yeah.
So that really shook things up, and now, that's pretty much stamped on everything.
Yeah. Even though it's kind of a BS thing now, really.
Oh, yeah, it really is. Some of the stuff, I'm like, you really sure that's okay for like 13-year-olds too?
Yep. Exactly.
I don't know about that.
Yep.
But yeah, all in all, it was one of my favorite games back in the arcade to play, and I love Street Fighter 2. TOO, not number
as
2.
Well. Yeah,
as well.
Yeah.
And I played Killer Instinct. That game always pissed me off, though.
Yeah.
I was never that good at Killer Instinct.
So you didn't play the more recent?
I played it on. Yeah, I got it as a free game on Xbox.
Okay, yeah. Did you like it?
I'm like, this really isn't.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's not. It doesn't capture the same thing as the original Killer Instinct did.
Right, exactly. I agree. So, so that was really one of my favorites, and like I said, I played all of them on console. 8, 9, 10, and like you said, I'll probably get 11 and try it out. I don't know if I'd go nuts and buy all, because I went nuts and bought all the DLC packs with all the characters, because it was like all horror things, and I love horror movies and stuff. So it was like Jason and and the Xenomorph and
right.
whatchamacallit, Leatherface.
Right.
It was all those guys. So I was like, I spent all that money on the extra packs.
Yep.
I don't know if I would do that this time, but I could see myself buying the game though. Definitely.
Yeah. I'll see. I might not get the game right off launch either. So I don't think you have to see, I want to see how everyone thinks of it first and have them, tweak out any bugs and balancing and gameplay issues. And then maybe I'll get it like later on. So
right.
Like I said,
I won't get it day one.
Yeah. Because I'm not competitive, online competitive anymore, so it's like there's no reason for me to get it right away.
Right, exactly. Well, you want to wrap this thing up?
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to throw out?
No, that's about it. Like, I mean, we were both arcade goers, but yeah, like we both like playing fighting games, and this is definitely one of our favorites. Although mine was Street Fighter and Street Fighter clones, I guess, anything that did that, but like I like playing Mortal Kombat as well. So
like I said, I feel this is our one together. I mean, I like stuff like I played Guilty Gear. Remember Eternal Champions on Sega CD?
Yeah. We used to play each other with that.
Yeah, where you throw people in the fan and stuff. Like that was another one that had like stage fatalities and stuff.
Yeah, I think they should have redone that, if anything.
I heard rumblings that they were thinking about it, but they never. They should at least port it so I can play it now on like Xbox or something.
Yeah,
like,
well, I mean,
master it or something and put it out. I'd play it again. I'd buy it for $5-10.
Well, you could still do that now. You could play it on a ROM. So like, so you just actually don't. We should talk about this offline. But like, there's a
let's not.
Yeah, I don't want to say anything illegal. Or something.
Right. So anyway, Rob.
Technically, it's not illegal as long as you own the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, you can play it on PC. If you load some software on there, you can play it on a PC.
But it'd be nice if they legally.
That's legal. It's legal to have a digital copy as long as you own it.
Sure. But yeah, so anyway, my point was there was a lot of games I really enjoyed by myself, but Mortal Kombat really was the thing that we really went at each other with and really spent a lot of money on in the arcade, hands down. And we played Street Fighter against each other a few times too, but
yeah. Well, for me, I think as in terms together, like I think I spent more on Street Fighter, but together on these fighting games, we spent the most on Mortal Kombat.
Absolutely. So, guys, thanks for listening. If you like us, get over here and subscribe.
Yeah, and tell us your stories. Tell us what your experiences were with Mortal Kombat, and
what was your first game that you played in arcade, or your favorite, or whatever.
Yeah, or even stories on how you got your ass kicked.
Or if you got to fight for real.
We'd like to hear that.
We love stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, thanks everybody. Podcast Time Machine, your go-to retro channel for the good old days.
All right, take it easy, guys, and keep living the dream. Keep living in a dream.
Keep living in a dream, and make sure you check us out at mindsetconversation.com.
That's right.
And you can get to all our channels from there, and we'll update you on all things happening with us. So we'll see you next week, guys. Thanks.
Take it easy, guys. Have a good week.